Welcome on everybody back again with another episode of The Talk. I think we're on episode 12 right now. As you can see, it's two different things that we're doing right now. Usually the Talk episodes are in the night, but I decided to do something different today because for this episode, I have my wife here with me. The intention with everything is to eventually, I want her on the podcast a bit more, even though she wants to play shy majority of the time.
Yeah, I had to
even
prepare
though
myself for this.
she's the more outspoken one. She wants to play shy. But the intention is in the future, I would like to have a co-host. I'm not putting you on the spot right now, but so everybody could see that you're going to be the co-host in the future. But eventually, not with all episodes, but especially with the ones where we want to step into, like talking about relationships, we want to start talking about business, we want to start talking about just different things. And I feel as though she might bring a different aspect as to questions that I might not per se might ask, but I think as though she would. We look at things differently.
Ask so much questions.
Yeah,
maybe?
no, but we look at things differently. So I might ask certain questions, and then she would know exactly where to fill in. And they say it's always better to have, if you have a third person in the middle, you have two people on the end, and it goes in a triangle instead of course, they're going to have episodes with me alone, but the intention is to eventually be both of us. So, and then when it's both of us, majority of the time it's going to be in the day, because I just want it to be different than the typical what I do, all the time. Mm-hmm. So in this episode, we don't really have anything per se put down, but we're just going to go with the flow and see how things go. And we just hope you guys enjoy this episode. And like I said all the time, you can watch this, listen to this episode on Spotify. So you don't have to be on YouTube. You can be walking, you can be jogging, you can be at work, you can be anywhere, and you can just put it in your ear and listen to it. And no one will know you're listening to the podcast unless you laugh, of course. But other than that, nobody will know you're listening to the podcast. So let's get straight into it. I don't know what questions you had for me, but I think for me personally, you might be wanting to ask me Jacquil Imagery questions, but I want to go into, before we get into that, just so the podcast is a bit longer, I want to talk about those two little things that we have at home, Zayn and Zuri. Maybe a little bit on how the information that we can give as to how it initially started. So maybe I have a question from you because I want to hear you speak. Mm-hmm. So I have a question for you where, of course, you got pregnant. How would you say it? We got pregnant. We got pregnant. And initially, of course, everyone in the world, typically when you get pregnant, you're planning in your head for one.
Yes.
Typically.
Exactly.
That's usually in your mind. That's what happened. That's what typically how it goes. But how was it when you found out that it was two?
Or should I say, how did we react when we found out when we had two? Well, the first time when I found out we were pregnant, I was pregnant. I was happy. I'm like, okay, we got pregnant. Show you the test result and so forth. And when we went to Dr. Couture, she's a gynecologist. She did the scanning on me, and she confirmed that yes, I was indeed pregnant. And that was the first appointment. Yeah. Then when we went on the second appointment, she said she was doing the scan. I was laying down on the bed. She put a gel and whatever. And she said, wait, I'm seeing two. And then she said, wait, I think I'm seeing a third one. I'm like, I'm just laying down on the bed like, I can't believe this. And you were saying like, for you? You're joking. For you?
Exactly.
I think maybe, she just trying to, make a joke.
Make it comfortable. Make you more comfortable.
Yeah. I didn't honestly believe that we were going to have twins. So she checked and she said, okay, I only see two heads or something like that.
Exactly.
Not two heads. I think it's something else. I don't know. But she confirmed that she saw two and that we were about to receive twins. Two of them were in a separate fraternal. Yeah. In separate And
for those that don't know what fraternal is,
if you notice our children don't look nothing alike, so they were in separate bags, separate embryos, separate everything, and yeah, a boy and a girl.
And they still 100%. Not only they look different, they are completely
Different.
opposite to each other.
Different skin tone.
Different. They
different personalities.
Exactly.
Boy and a girl.
Yeah. So we get completely opposite, and of course you're grateful because at first, what's your first emotion? The first emotion that hit you?
My first emotion was, how the hell 2 babies going to fit in my belly? I just was looking at this like, how much? Because I saw pictures of persons who have multiples, and their belly was really out, and I'm like, how I'm going to recover? How am I going to come back from this? So that was just my concern. How they're going to fit.
Yeah, exactly. And I had the same emotion. At first, of course, you're going to be surprised. But I think that maybe I accepted it.
Yeah, you accepted it.
Because it is surprising that you're going, oh, what is going to be? It's going to be a boy and a girl. And then you find out it's actually 2. Mm-hmm. Typically, the first thing in your mind you're going to think on, oh, you're pregnant, we have one. What is it? A boy or girl? Mm-hmm. But with us, it was quite different.
Yeah, but the thing is, you try to make me comfortable with it because I always used to say, right now I think I was crazy at the time, but I guess when you become a mother, you know what you will settle for. Anyway, I always used to tell Jacquil I would like 5 children. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Not no more, but
5. Yeah, I wanted 5, and then after when I stepped out the clinic from Dr. Couture, when I went in the vehicle, you told me, well, you always say you wanted 5. Now you got a head start, you have 2.
Exactly. But you think you still have that in your mind that you want 5 children?
No, I don't. I don't want 5 children. I'm happy.
I don't think per se it has to do with. I think for children, you have to have the attention.
Yeah, and time.
And because patience. It's 2, you have to stretch yourself very thin. Mm-hmm. And of course, you don't want it to be that, even though at a certain point in your life, one of them going to actually gravitate more towards the other and them type of stuff. But you want to give equally both of them the amount of attention.
And that doesn't happen.
No.
Because if you have one, if you're hugging one and one sees that you're giving attention to one, you have to get your arms them open wide to receive 2 of them.
Exactly. It's the same thing with buying stuff. Or the same thing if someone gifts them stuff.
You would prefer to give them 2 of the same thing because either way they're going to be fighting.
Unless, well, I think at this current time right now, they know the difference into, like, for example, a ball is for Zane and maybe the stuffed animal, maybe Zuri might gravitate more towards the stuffed animal, for example, and they accept that.
But it's just not one of something.
Exactly. And then, we reached to the point where we reached to the end, and we finally got to see them, and we went through that entire process.
But our process was not nice because it was during COVID time.
Exactly.
We couldn't receive the children here on station because they didn't have a
They said twins is typically high risk.
Yeah, they said high risk. So for safety reasons, we went to Bonea, and I wanted to receive them the natural way. Instead of having a C-section. I tried all kind of things for the other baby to flip at the time so that 2 of them would be able, for me to do natural birth. And unfortunately, one of them would breach and all of that, and I didn't want to take a risk of, I don't want to say, okay, I push out one and then the next time, due to time, the next one, stress and all of that. Just to avoid any mishaps happening, I decided to go the safest route, which was to do the C-section. And from that day, it was rough because we had to go in isolation because the person who was in the room with me at that time, was confirmed that she had COVID.
Yep.
Yeah.
Which put a delay on almost everything because we were supposed to be back on the island maybe a few days after, and then they send you back, but it actually pushed back our coming back time by 3 weeks. I think 2 weeks. 2 weeks at least. At the minimum, it was 2
more
weeks.
than that. I think it was a month.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Because we came Stacia, probably we ended up came in Stacia a good while after, but it was not like our fault per se. They just put us in a room, and then it ended up that person had COVID, and I think from then on is where it kind of went downhill.
Yeah.
Reason being because I'm a person where I don't like to hold. If the child is not mine, I'm not gonna hold a little baby. So I didn't have no experience with holding babies so and knowing what to do and those different type of stuff, because if I see someone with a baby that small, I typically don't want to hold.
Too fragile.
Yeah, I feel as though it's too fragile. But you have to look at it this way, that we are now in isolation, which means no one can come by us.
Exactly.
Which means the nurses can't help. Which means we will just have to just go through the motions.
And the first night, it was tough for me.
Yeah.
Because I just received them. I just had a C-section, and here I had 2 babies next to me, and I just had to find ways to, Yeah,
we just
also teaching them how to latch on.
Exactly.
For me to give them breastfeeding. It was stressful.
And it's first time being parents and being stuck in quarantine and nobody be able to help. And when people do come to help, they are, put on the clothes from head to toe with mask and all kind of things. So you don't feel like you have a human connection with the persons there. So
even though we were in a bubble.
Exactly. Yeah. Even though at the same time you're in a bubble, but now you're in a even more extreme bubble because you can't really come out the room at all. Because, like I said, how do you feel about it right now?
I feel it's really good now. It's to me, like you always told me, like you're not so used to holding children so young and all that, even though you had to do it regardless. But this time is really fun, I should say, because they're learning, they're talking, learning to talk. Sometimes they try to repeat. They see something that you're doing. This point is like they're trying to mimic everything that you do. Sometimes it even surprises us. But I feel like right now we can do so much with them. They're more flexible.
Exactly. And
how do you feel?
At first you're gonna think the workload was a lot. It was a lot because
mentally.
It's 2 babies.
No sleep.
For those that do have kids, know that you have to wake up every 2 hours. We're waking up
in the beginning. That was the beginning.
Every 2 hours you have to wake up, and it's 2 babies.
They didn't have a sleeping routine down as yet.
No. So maybe one might fall asleep then the next one might wake up. So barely you're sleeping, and then a lot of people tell you that when they go sleep too. Go sleep too. But
you have other things.
How you gonna eat? How you gonna
clean?
All of those things. It's impossible. So I think your body at a certain point just gets accustomed to not sleeping.
Yeah.
So it's not that you was, would I say you was sleepy? No, you was tired.
You were just tired.
You was very, very, very tired. If you understand what I mean. You're like, you ain't sleepy, but you're tired. Like, ooh.
And I'm grateful to have you, because I can imagine mothers who don't have a support system.
That too.
So you was really willing to really help. And
exactly.
Even though 2 of us, it still felt, like
exactly. Yeah. And you try to, because they was breastfeeding, is not to say like every time I could have just.
I can remember that.
Yeah.
When I would have one on the pillow here and then one on the next pillow, you have to just feed 2 at the same time.
Yeah, and then you're frustrated because maybe one is not latching on as well as the other one, and when they're not latching on, go to what they're doing, crying, and then you're hearing the crying and they're fussy, and it's nothing you can do about it. Nothing. Now that you're older, you kind of sit back and be like, oh, maybe it was this, maybe it was that.
Now it's my experience.
Then in that particular time, it was just, it was super difficult to get around something like that.
Did you feel prepared? Like, even though like it took 9 months, right? Did you feel like you prepared yourself enough becoming a dad?
No. It took me, even when they were born, it took me about at least 6 months for me to get accustomed to people asking me, hey, how are your children? And I would feel uncomfortable.
And now you notice nobody don't ask about you.
Yeah.
Everybody asking, how are the children? They
exactly.
Say, how are you doing?
Exactly.
Yeah.
So it's something that you have to get accustomed to because it's your first time being a parent. So when people ask you, how are you children? I don't even know how to answer the question. So it was something really weird to get accustomed to. But now it's just like normal. Like, oh, it's romantic. Oh, they're doing this, they're doing that, they're doing that. But in the beginning, it was real difficult getting
for me. Yeah, it was for me as well. And then especially when I got married today, when I got married as well, it got me punt, and I'm like, it feels so uncomfortable. And then after that, okay, how the children? So it two things at the same time I had to get used to.
Exactly, and it's not. Yeah, it just was weird to get to. But I think everybody as a first parent does have that thing where they feel as though it is difficult. And how do you feel about, sometimes people say that you don't know love until you have children. How do you feel about it?
Yes, I could totally relate to it, because to me it's like when it's about yourself, you're willing to take much more risk. You're willing to just be free, in general.
Yeah.
Take more risk. But when it comes to your own children, you're like more cautious and you have more, I feel, fear.
Exactly.
Like you're afraid something happened to them.
I feel with the something happened to them, it can be a little thing, but it's more of you don't want to do something that eventually jeopardizes them. So, for example, if I was, let's say I want to go and I just use an example of buy something, and it's kind of let me say it's expensive.
Mm-hmm.
But let's say I have to buy something and it's expensive and it's for the children.
You wouldn't mind.
Immediately, I just ain't thinking twice about it. I just immediately just buy it.
But for yourself?
But for myself, I'd be like,
thinking on.
Let me don't buy this because I don't know what will come up. Children are expensive, especially with Pampers, wipes, and all them different type of things. So I'd be quicker to be like, even if the child don't need it, and I'll quicker buy something for them than buy something for myself. And like risk, for example, you just wouldn't jump out and do the typical stuff you would do as if you don't have kids. It just normal like that. Like if I would go away, I would be uneasy. But that's me, because you use more of the person who would, like every civic have rides and these wild rides. Now because I have children, it would be worse. I wouldn't even
I took you on one already.
I wouldn't pretend to go on it now because I like, what, something happened now? And then it's just Paula with the children. Not to put nothing bad in the air, but it's just like you think that's how you think now. You think on them first, and then you think on yourself after. Mm-hmm. But it does have downsides to it.
Like what?
What would you say? What for yours from your side first? What would you say is downsides to always only focusing on the twins?
Well, I think you mean for family standpoint from you.
Yeah.
I think it's a balance. We can't only just focus. Yes, they are important to us. Exactly. I don't know if I understand you correctly.
Yeah.
Yes, they are important to us, but at the same time, you also have to remember about us.
Exactly.
And have it time for us. Yeah.
I think that's the biggest hurdle we had.
Yeah.
Because it's not, when you're so focused on the kids, and you got to think of it this way. Quarantine for the first 3 months, because when you come to station, you also have to go inside of the bubble. You couldn't do anything. So the first 3 months, you was kind of couldn't do anything.
And you also didn't want it to just burden people with 2 children, you know?
If it's one, you can say, hey, can you watch my child here fast? And so I could get a little time to either sleep or even do something, or even do something together.
Yeah.
But my parents don't live here. They are not on the island. So it's not to say per se you could have called them, hey, I'm coming to bring the children and just leave them by you. So they ain't living here. So it's kind of, you have to go through that.
And if someone is willing, like we do have some persons who are willing to but that's when they ask for them. And but from ourselves, we don't really want to burden ourselves because they are our responsibility at the end of the day. So
and I think it makes the bond bigger with them, seeing that we decided to not, even though it causes more stress on us ourselves, but they're our responsibility. It's just the way it is. And I think we reached to a point where we accepted that's just our life moving forward. And if you really, really, really want to do something, we plan it, let's say months ahead. If you really want to, let me say we want to do something for ourselves, we plan it way in advance.
Not so way in advance, but yeah.
So that we can, like, regulate the stuff with the other person to be like do things with that. But I think that only happened after they got a bit bigger.
And before I do this, I want to give a shout out to my niece. So yeah, thank you so much.
That's for sure.
So
that's for sure.
Yeah,
always
count
we can
on
call
her.
it. Yeah, that's 100% all the time. We don't have to worry at all. Oh, you wanna what? Yeah, no problem.
Yeah,
I'll come and do X, Y, Z. Yeah, exactly. So that's for sure. That's something 100% for sure. But it was difficult getting, adjusted to the parent lifestyle. To be honest.
Take a lot out of you. Patience. Sometimes you have to be like, let me take a breather, and even sometimes you have a tough time, I'll be like, okay, you go. I'm going to handle the children. Or it's the same like with
exactly.
Well.
But then I also, as a person, like for example, and it's not against any other person, but I have a thing where the only how I would leave the house is if I really, if I have to do a photo shoot or I have to do something that I really leave the house. I feel guilty leaving the house and then leaving her alone. Even how big they are now, I feel strange leaving her alone with the kids because I just...
And although I tell you, hey, you can go, it's okay, it's fine.
It's something within myself.
I don't know, I don't know.
I just feel guilty within myself. Even though you tell me, go.
Yeah.
I still feel guilty with myself. I just don't want to leave the twins. Even though you can handle it. I know you can handle it. Just something within myself. I just don't do it.
I think COVID is part of that. I think COVID, because we couldn't ask people for help because everyone was so cautious of getting COVID and all of that. I think that's what really built us together. And you being so attached to them, because COVID was like, what, 3 years?
Yeah. Exactly.
And the turn are 2 years now.
Exactly.
So you can say you had like 2 years.
Yeah. And at the same time, my aunt, which is my second mother, also was expecting a grandchild. So it not to say that I could say, hey, Jean, let me help me a little bit there.
Yeah.
So Jaden, I blame you, but but yeah, that's just how it was at the time. But when we do really need help, we do ask, and most of the time
and people do tell us that you can. Everyone says that you can.
Yeah, but I think it's within ourselves that we feel. Yeah,
it's us.
I never want to feel as though I am burdening someone with the kids, and I think it, like you say, it's because of COVID. Mm-hmm. So it just happened.
You got used to it.
Yeah, you got used to you're the person who was dealing with the kids and and it just went that way, and that's just how it is. A few things that happened when the COVID situation happened in Borneo. The reason I was so mad upset about the whole situation was because we probably would have made it back before my grandmother passed away, but because of this, I would say carelessness on the
healthcare
the healthcare part, and even though on the end you find out that we didn't even had anything, she would have been able to see. We couldn't even write in the kids, and she would have got to see them. She got to see them on a video, like a small little video or something like that, but she didn't get to see them physically, and that really upset me because of the bond I had with her. I had her throughout my whole life. Mm-hmm. That bothered me. So that I think that
she was also concerned about you.
Yeah, concerned about me, concerned about the kids. She was just, and then it just bothered me that she didn't get to meet them physically.
Yeah, she
got to see them, but physically she didn't get to. And it's so strange that after she got to see them, via the thing, and then after it just a few days after, because we got the children were born on the 13th, and she passed away on the 21st, if I'm not mistaken. I'm not 100% sure. I don't have the date correct in my mind, but it's between the 20th to the 25th. Mm-hmm. She passed away, and it wasn't too long after that entire thing.
That's the only reason I kind of rush up.
Yeah, and that's I tried to find any way. If it had to charter a plane to go from Borneo to come to Stacia, I would have done that, but they said, it's not possible because it has to go through certain processes. So it just what it is at that time. But I was happy that she got the thing. But
see them off. Yeah,
but it's still at the same time, of course, it's gonna bother you. That the person that You wanted to see them. That's the person that for sure at the end of the day, I wanted to take a picture of her holding them. So that is something I would have wanted, but yeah, it didn't work out that way.
She did surprise me in some events.
Yes. That was a wedding. The wedding, yeah, I didn't. Typically for a wedding, you don't expect yourself to be crying. I was crying from time the wedding start to the time the wedding end. I was crying the entire time through, and I you know, I would expect that the woman will be crying, but now that I'm on TikTok and I watching a lot of, I watch videos and then they show you videos of weddings, it's always the man. always.
Maybe the woman cry too much.
Probably before the entire thing, but it's usually the man, and I can't tell you what is. I can't explain what is happening. It's just as soon you hear the wedding about to start, I didn't even see you then. As soon you hear the wedding about to start, I done crying already. I have a picture of myself walking off before it start.
Because at that time, you was a photographer, so you had to hire in other people.
Exactly, which is was Earl and
Nadia.
Yeah, Earl and Nadia at that time.
Yeah.
And
you get him your camera.
Yeah, give him a camera, and they actually do a good job. So,
yeah.
Up until this day, we still use the pictures. Of course, we just didn't post really with the wedding because that was something we want to keep for ourselves. Because as a photographer, I don't know if you, for other photographers, as a photographer, I don't like to be in front of the camera. I like to be behind. So we just held them for ourselves. Sometimes I do look at them and you're happy. You look back at the moment and what happened. But yeah, that's the way it was at that time. Yeah, for the wedding, we had to hire in. Well, hiring, yeah.
We were wondering who.
We were wondering who we were going to do at that time because, of course, you want the pictures to be as good as possible.
Yeah.
And so I actually did like a crash course with them. And then, of course, I set the camera the way I wanted it to because it's technical term, but I didn't want to shoot in automatic. I wanted to shoot in manual, so I set it a certain way. And then we take the pictures, and actually they came out well. Very well. I can't complain at all about any of the pictures, and we're very happy with the result that we got from everything. So that was an experience.
Yeah, and you were surprised by your grandmother showing up as well because at the time she was in the hospital.
Yeah, that made it worse. That made it worse because you're going through the emotions. I'm already crying already. You're going through the emotions of the whole thing and everything running, and then after. At a certain point, because I think I was already in the front.
Yeah, you were.
I think we were already walking, and then after I just see the car pull up, and I like, okay, there's the car pull up, and when I see her come out, that was it. That was it.
It was a nice surprise.
Yeah, a nice surprise for you, and I just cry. But I wasn't expecting it, which is why it felt so good that it happened because I that was the last thing on my mind because I know she was in the hospital.
Yeah.
But it's one memory I can actually hold on to.
Is that?
That's for sure. Is I can hold on to that forever. And I'm glad that I got pictures on that day with her because it was the last time to actually officially get that I got a good picture, and it was a good picture that I actually can put anywhere in my home, at my office, anywhere, and because I was so happy that she didn't get to see the twins, but she was there for a big moment in my life either way.
Yeah.
So I was happy, very very happy with that.
Yeah. But for the persons what came over you, like you say, you just watch on TikTok, and mostly the men getting emotional more than the female. What you think? What you felt like? What come over you? Like, it's like, oh my gosh, I'm gonna be stuck with this person for the rest of my life. That's what you're crying for. What emotions it is? Because maybe you have men out there thinking of doing the same thing. Like what? And how do you know you want to get married?
I think I want to try to put it in the best term possible, so hopefully people can understand. I think you reach to a point where you can officially say to yourself, I think it's saying to yourself that you found your perfect match. And I think it's you're not crying because you're disappointed. You're crying because you're so happy. And you're so feel, and I ain't saying this because you're here, but you're crying.
Yeah, I hope you're not saying it because
no, you're crying. I ain't saying it for the video. You're crying because it's joy. It's tears of happiness. It's tears of joy, and I think you're like, I think I found the person that I want to spend the rest of my life with.
Don't get me emotional now.
It's true though. It is a person, and you feel as though it's a peace. It's just a sense of I think men would understand, but you're only gonna understand when you actually go through the emotions, because I tell you, like, I see it every time. Men might be the hardest or be the toughest, but then when you get that in that moment, that day, you cry, like, especially when you come out of the Jeep and you start walking towards me, you're crying. When I see my mother in front doing anything, you're crying. When my grandmother,
that one way your mother did was nice too.
My grandmother finally came in, I bawled. So it's just happiness. It's tears of joy that you're going through a moment like this, and it don't happen for everyone. And you go through your entire life and you're searching and you finally find someone, and I find as though it's just all those emotions, and it just, you might be holding in emotions the whole relationship, and then at that moment everything just release, and you just.
Oh, we was always open to in our relationship as well.
That's for sure. And the reason I say it's not really, I'm not just saying it for us to be in because we're in front of each other, because for the persons watching, we also did YouTube.
Yeah.
And one thing that, although it could have been something that made us blow up big and made us think, we could have said, okay, I'm going to do pranks, a lot of pranks and a lot of challenges. I think because internally to myself, even though it was fun for the moment, it, to me, challenges and pranks breeds distrust. And because you don't know if someone is doing something genuinely or they're doing something just for the camera.
Yeah.
And plus the pranks that
it wasn't for us.
No.
But we saw, like, with other YouTubers, how it turned out for them, and we like,
I don't want to go down that route. I prefer people, if you want to, this is how you're going to
see us.
Yeah. These are the type of things we want to do that I'm not going to be doing fun. Like for example, the cheating prank or the fun, but you did do some good pranks, because I think you did one with your ear.
And I didn't. And you didn't put it out.
No, I
guess because you didn't want.
I never. But
that one was a real.
But you catch me real good with that one. But I think the pranks and the stuff like that, eventually you had to do it. If you didn't do it, they consider you like boring.
Yeah.
And we just didn't want to do it that way. So
genuine and we just didn't want it to say, I can't to them, do it for the gram.
No.
We want it to be like that. Even though sometimes we feel the pressure from people because they say, oh, why you all stop or anything. And we just don't want to become like, those showy persons. We just want the best for ourselves, even though in the community it might come over as if we really, but
trying to be perfect, but far from it. And I hate that perfect image thing.
I don't know.
I don't like it because it is not something you're trying to be. It's just you're just being your normal self.
To be the best.
Number one, I'm not a extrovert or an introvert person, so that's one reason I'm not going to be outside doing things, talking to a whole bunch of people. I was never a popular person or anything like that. So I think you just get a thing where you're so secluded, people might actually end up thinking as if you think you're better than, but it's nothing.
According to them,
it's just my personality, just the way I am.
It's like damn if you do, damn if you don't.
Exactly.
Because sometimes if you're in a mix with all kind of things, your name gets brought up. If you're not in the mix, your name still gets,
so it doesn't matter what you do.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, they're gonna talk about you anyway. So you might as well live the life the way you want to live, and I'm happy living it just like this, just how it is. And if you talk, you don't talk. That's just the way it is. But we stopped the entire YouTube thing, because we just didn't want to go into that whole. It had a whole era with just pranks, and those type of things. And if you can look back now, I would say at least 95% of those YouTubers no longer together.
Oh wow, 95? That's a big one.
No, I would think majority, honestly, or they decided to stop doing pranks.
Yeah, like the Aaron Ken was surprising for me.
Yeah. For example, but they stopped doing the pranks at the starting time, and they like only did vlogs.
Yeah,
because the vlogs is good. The vlogs is like you're just in the life, you're just talking normal stuff. But I think the pranks is where, even though you get the most votes for that, the most views and stuff like that.
Yeah.
I just couldn't. I feel like I would be putting on a front of myself that I wouldn't be able, in the long run, I wouldn't be able to keep up.
Yeah.
I feel as though I would have at a certain point.
And then you're applying pressure on yourself.
Oh, I got to do this.
Someone who you're not.
I could be, let me say, I come home with flowers. You're going to think.
You just do it for the
video.
Is it genuine? I'm going to be questioning that if it's genuine.
Yeah, although it probably would have ended up that we are very big because, people that like to watch those couple things. At the same point, you think more about the relationship.
For the best.
And not about just about those type of stuff. So we just had to, that's the way it just had to end up being. So if people are wondering why we stopped, that's one of the major reasons as to why we stopped. But I have a question for you. Why do you think that everything just matches up with us so perfectly?
I don't know, It's so strange how everything aligned, because then we're gonna go to Jacquil Imagery. It just so happened that you mean perfect match as together, or you mean
also
as
both, like business,
as profession?
Professional too, like profession. Let me say profession wise.
Okay, career wise, I always love makeup. When my older sister, people used to think she's my mom, but I guess because of the age difference, growing up, she always used to buy me like these little makeup stuff, and ever since I fell in love with makeup, and I think I used to do it on myself, and then I started on, I remember it was Mel at the time, and then I'm like, I want to really try to take this thing on serious, so I started doing her makeup, and then when I came to stage, I took her pictures, and then people were like amazed by the work that I did on her, and that's how I got my name out there. And also I started doing the YouTube video with myself, which was up to now I don't like to watch back. I don't like to see myself.
I always tell her she would have been one of those like I don't know, like the Jacquil Imagery and those type of persons of the world. I always felt as though you would have been one of those type of persons.
You always told me so.
But I think you didn't like the listening back to yourself.
Yeah, I didn't like listening back to myself, because when you come from the Caribbean,
you can't talk like that.
My first video was really like yanking.
Yeah.
And now when I look back on it, I'm like,
cringy.
Yeah. I'm like, why you speak like? And then you too. But you could have told me I was yanking so much.
I find you just was talking. You're trying to talk.
I
told you,
part of being
eventually you're gonna just.
So I was in my mind, I thinking like, I have to articulate what I'm saying clearly. I have to be more. So I'm thinking that if I speak clearly, I have to yank, which was not the point.
Exactly. So it's just I feel as though a lot of the YouTubers that I watch now, that I personally watch now, like YC Imaging, Manny Ortiz, Shot by Said, the reason I watch those and I feel as though I can relate with them so much is because their girlfriend does something like, their girlfriend does makeup, or the girlfriend is a model, or it's something that I think that's why I got so good so fast.
I guess because
you're so practiced. You're practicing on yourself, and at the same time when you're done doing your makeup,
on me.
I want to go take pictures so that I could practice on myself.
Or you also help with editing the clips.
Exactly. So it definitely also helped the relationship.
But to say it was planned, no, because you asked me how do you think we became that perfect match. I don't know. I just maybe said that's up to God.
Because in the first,
everything just aligned.
The first 3-4 years it was overseas. Yeah. So to say that we mesh off of makeup and photography, it wouldn't work, because only when we came to Holland is when we started with the photography and stuff like that. So it just meshed.
And then in the end it just came together, and we were like, oh, okay, I'll do makeup. No, I was doing my makeup on my end, and then after you were doing the photography, and then people started requesting about, why you all don't do packages since you don't do the makeup and the photography. Exactly. And then after we like, you know what? It's actually a good match for you.
Exactly. So I'm very grateful for that, because I think that's the only way I got so good so fast. Also because my own willingness, because like I said, I sit on watch YouTube all day, and the only thing I'm watching is the same thing with you. Like I can hear Jackie. I could just hear that. I got you're hearing her, and maybe she in the bedroom, and that's what she listening to, and then she could hear me in the thing. Maybe photographers I watch don't got no kind of catchy thing, but she know that I watching one of those
some technical stuff.
Yeah, she know that, and it just like she said, everything just fall in line, and it just fall together so perfectly, and it's still benefiting us up until now because. Yeah, I still do photography / videography, and she still does makeup, and
it's just a bit of a challenge now. I think we just going around it. It's just about a part of scheduling. Like since we have the children, we kind of did the whole. So it is slow down.
Yeah, I feel it's slow down because you have to take into consideration the kids, and you want to have time for them also. So ain't every time that you come from work, you want to have time with them first. And then, of course, the best time to take pictures is either sunset or something like that. And we can't do that because we can do it now. I'm not going to lie, we can do it right now. But at that time, we couldn't do it because they're babies.
But I find you catch back yourself.
Yeah, because people still want to book, people still want to do stuff.
And you also need the finances.
But at the same time, too, I don't force myself.
That's one thing with you.
I reached to the point now where I'm
for sure. Whatever
it
comes.
It really has. If it comes to me, it comes to me. If it doesn't, I'm happy with that too, because I'm a very large family person. So I prefer to spend time with the family, even though I want to do those stuff.
Even though I tell you can go, you still feel guilty.
Exactly. There's also a reason why the talk is in the night. The talk, usually most of the episode I tape like 8:30, 8 o'clock. I know by then the kids sleeping already.
And it's easy
and I feel at ease in my mind that I'm talking to a person I don't have to worry about the showing up. They're running up. No, even though I know they're in good care, but I don't have to worry about any of that. So that's also a reason why the talk is in the night. Because I just prefer.
And even easier for like when we ask my niece to come. They're already sleeping.
They're already sleeping, so all she has to do is sit down, and if they get up, she knows exactly what to do. But most of the time, she just has to, do your thing, watch TV or whatever you want to do. You just do at that time. So, I mean, I feel like the photography and the stuff came together real well.
How you started?
Yeah, how I started was I actually for those that didn't know, I made music. I made music for a very long time. I always was making music. My music was quite different to what everyone does because it wasn't club stuff. It was more on the deep level, talking stories and stuff like that. If you listen to my music, you get more how I am and then why I am the way I am.
Most people would be like, okay, like the one, like we're going to just be the kick.
Yeah,
like,
but
you're more like
it's because I listen to like J. Cole, Kendrick Lamar, Tupac, them type. So that's more of my realm. So maybe if I can find a link, I'll just put it down in the description. So if you want to listen to it, you listen to it to see where. But it's not mixed well. But at that specific time, that is what I. So that's where.
Because even now you can relate to it. Yeah. Like when we listened to it a few days ago, I'm like, oh, you see this?
Yeah, that's the type of music that I made. That I can listen to it a couple of years after, and I still feel like it's talking to me now. Even though I was talking about certain things, it just feels so. So I mean, if you want to listen to it, it's in the description. And that's where it initially started from. That's where my creative mind.
And then you want to do a video shoot.
Yes, I want to do a music video. It wasn't easy with being.
It was funny
because
for me.
It was funny for her, but she didn't know at the same time. It's kind of
serious,
pushing me more, inward because, what I did get, I got the S7 Edge. Because I couldn't afford a camera at that time. People know who do studio and those different type of stuff. It's not enough money to do those stuff. So I got it on a payment plan. I got an S7 Edge at that time. And that's what I shot the video with. And I put it out. It actually, my wife Paula actually shot the video, a girlfriend at that time. She shot the video. It was fun, but it's weird because we're in a park and people are passing and they're watching you. You are like moving your hand and stuff.
I can remember when you told me.
They can't even hear the music because I didn't even have something to play the music. So I'm kind of trying to rap the verse out of my head, hoping that I have it correctly, so that when I go back, I just put it together that it syncs good with the sound itself. And it actually, when I put it out, a lot of people shared it at that time.
enjoyed
That
it.
page doesn't even exist anymore, but
Wait, was
a lot of
what was the name?
I think it was April 20th.
No,
it was a
the
song
name they
dedicated.
used to had in music name.
What?
It
Pon?
was-
What? My name was Pon.
No, you had a logo on your hat. You were doing all kind of thing.
Oh, God, it was Golden Dynasty.
Yeah.
And what it was spelled out is God. So it was
Yeah.
spelled out God, but actually it was Golden Opportunity Dynasty.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, that's technically what it was at that time. Then I had Be Yourself Lifestyle, where people
Yes, that's one. That's the one.
people remember
And
me.
then you started
That's before I
taking
even got a camera
photography.
too. I was doing that thing where I do these short videos. You know, it was a trend then, where you're talking either about relationships or how people act or those different type of things. I was doing videos like that with the phone. I wasn't using no camera then, so I was posting them to YouTube on my phone. And a lot of people used to like it then, also. And then I started to do. I wanted to get a professional camera.
Yeah.
So at that time, if you're in the Netherlands, you know Mac Platz is the same like Station Rent Borrow,
Yeah.
And what happened then is that I wanted a specific camera, and I couldn't buy it brand new. So you went on Mac Platz, I could only afford it
I
second
remember
hand.
when you sent it to me.
And I think it was
Picture.
650 euros, 650 euros. And the person said they needed the money because they needed to pay rent, or they was going away. Going through something at that time.
You need to sell everything.
So they were, and the camera was, if I had to buy it brand new, I think it was 1,200 euros. And they were selling for 650, and it wasn't, nothing was wrong with it. Up to this day, it still works.
Perfect.
Normal, and I get an extra lens with it and everything. And luckily, that popped out. I have to travel for about 4 or 5 hours. You was there with me. Then no,
I wasn't there.
I remember my mother at that time and my brother
Yeah.
at that time to get it, but I think we was calling all the time to make sure everything. And I got it, and we ate. I think we ended up by a Chinese restaurant.
But before you did that, you was looking for the you was always looking on that for that camera.
Yeah.
And it was too expensive at the time.
Yeah,
But then,
and for weeks, I'm like, I don't want to buy nothing else. I don't want to buy nothing else. So it's just strange how the universe just happens to just turn and actually end up getting the camera that I actually wanted at that time.
yeah.
And yeah, a lot of traveling. Was about 8-9 hours of just traveling because 4.5 hours to go.
Oh.
Because the trains weren't working at that time. Well, they were only working to a certain destination. You had to jump in a bus, and then the bus had to drive to a certain path, and then you jump back on the train like that.
Wow.
At that time. So it had what you call vertraging or whatever it was. Yeah, delay at that time. And that's what had to happen. And because you wanted the camera so bad, I went.
And that was a start.
Yeah, and that was the start of everything, and it just went from there.
You started doing videos.
Exactly. And it just got better and better and better until we're here right now, where we are right now. So it was quite a journey. It was about 7 years. So maybe
2018? No.
So I think 2017 I actually started. If I had to count the phone and everything in it, maybe 2016. So about 7 years in the making. And actually I'm here. Things are good. This year I decided to focus on passion projects. So like this, the talk. Yeah. I'm not being paid.
You always wanted to do a podcast long time ago.
But I just the courage to do it. And also because I was at a certain point, I wanted to have the time and I wanted to do something that I know I would have done consistently.
Yeah.
So now I'm doing it, and I'm not paid for doing this. I just do it because I want to do it. So my YouTube is technically my passion project.
But apart from that too, let me let you finish and then I'll continue.
I also wanted to say, like, a lot of people watch my thing and say your quality is very high thing, so they don't want to even approach me. But if you're a small business and you're just starting out, typically I like to work with persons. And if you're an entrepreneur and I see you're an entrepreneur and you want to do stuff, I don't charge. We can work something out. I don't.
Right now, you're not doing it.
Right now, yeah. If you're something that speaks to me, I would work with you. It doesn't have to be monetary involved. We can work something out. But don't think because you see my quality and you see that it's 4K and I have all these expensive equipment that I wouldn't do something even for free. Don't think that way. approach me, talk to me. We can work something out, and I'll be willing to do it. We can always negotiate and make something work. So don't
Everything
think
isn't about money.
no. I that's what I understand. Sometimes people just need to start.
Yeah.
And
to get themselves out there.
I always prefer to look back and be like, and I don't boast about it, but just to look back for myself to be like, why I was there from the beginning of this, and I was a part of the process of the person with this and this and that. So if you're out there and you're watching this right now and you have a good idea and it's planned and you have everything set it out and we could sit down and talk about it, we can work something out for sure.
What I like about it too, when you told me, because years ago you wanted to do it with me as well.
Yeah.
I just felt like, what can we discuss and anything. Anyway, the intention of it is for it to flow naturally. But in addition to that, I find what you're doing is really good, because when you go on YouTube and Google anything about station, you don't really see things. Either you see something from way a long time ago, and now you're actually creating a platform for those persons, like you say, who want to better themselves, and business, entrepreneurs, anything. It can be business, mental health, relationships, anything.
It does not matter.
Everything.
Anything.
And at least now that you have it on your YouTube channel, people can actually put in Sint Eustatius, and maybe one of these podcasts and so can pop up on there.
Exactly. And you'll probably find my website, and everything is on my everything is on my website also. So if you don't see it from my YouTube, maybe if they write Sint Eustatius, they see my website, or they're looking for a photographer, they see my website, they also see you, because I put everything on my website
as well.
I'm doing this so that we always have something as stations to look back on, and even from people from away, they can understand some people before you even make it to
the island.
Yeah,
so you're already familiarized with yourself, with the community of station.
Exactly. That was one of the main goals that I wanted to do with that. So that's why it's called a passion project, because I try my best I want to do things to the people who are not really on the camera as much, and
you want to give them that recognition.
Exactly. So it's something that I want to do, and I want to continue, and I hope at the end of the day, at the end of the time, I speak to almost everyone on station that really wants to speak about something, and then it always can branch out to different areas and stuff like that. So I mean, it's a start, and you always have to begin somewhere, and I'm happy that I'm doing this at least for 2 months now, consistently every week, which if you look back on my YouTube, I probably do it for 3 weeks or a month, and then after there's a big thing in between. So I'm happy I made it to the 2 month, 3 month mark, somewhere around there.
And I find this is, honestly, I should say I'm proud of you, because this is something that you really stuck with, like you really consistently. And I guess, like you say, you are introvert, and you as an introvert, you like in-depth questions, you like in-depth conversations. You don't just like discussing things off surface.
Exactly.
And I think that's really a part of our relationship as well, where we always find something to talk about. We always find something to discuss about, whether it's for bettering ourselves, mental health.
Exactly.
And those are, to me, that form now, a strong foundation with us.
Exactly. And I think it's gonna definitely continue. And I hope that people enjoy what I'm doing, actually.
I'm not sure how I'm going to do as a co-host, because you said that you're going to be a co-host.
Yeah, I want you to be a part of certain episodes for sure. I want you to be a part of. We have some in the people. I'm talking to people that I have at least 4 already lined up that I know I want you a part of.
Okay, so this is a prep.
So you guys let me know how you enjoy this episode too.
Yeah.
And of course, like I said, you can listen to this on Spotify. If you're midway in the podcast right now and you have to get up and go somewhere, look in the description box. You're going to see the Spotify link. Click it and listen to the rest of the podcast there. Let us know also if there's something specifically you want us to talk about.
Yeah, I was just going to say what topic you would like us to touch on.
You go ahead.
Because this one was just like a free.
Yeah, I didn't come. This wasn't planned. You might think it's planned. We don't have any questions. And I do feel like this whole entire thing is also helping. Is also helping me myself.
Yourself.
because I'm not a major conversationalist, but I can tell from doing this, the conversations I'm having outside of this, it's actually helping that. So I know like what questions to ask, what people technically maybe want to speak about. So and it's actually helping me getting better. So it's not only for other people, but it's also helping me at the same time.
Yeah. But it's not that you're forcing yourself to be an extroverted person.
No. But it's not about extroverted. It's about just
in general.
Because of where I work, I talk to a lot of different cultures from different people from different cultures. So you have to have the cultural awareness to know what specific people would want to talk about. And that's what I also want to do with this. It's not per se I want to only talk to stations either. I want to talk to, because I want to understand how people see station from the outside, so that we can know how to move forward, how we know how people see us from the outside. So
interesting.
Yeah, it's something for everyone. So is anything you want to leave with them before we decide to get up here and call it a day?
I don't have anything really to say. I'm just, because I was kind of nervous to come on this podcast.
You still nervous?
So not as much as how it started. But I would just like them to know, like, okay, if you would like me to continue on this podcast with Jacquil, you can send I don't know, send it to you on email.
You can send it in the comment section. I usually also you can join the newsletter, because like I mentioned with the newsletter, I do giveaways. If you're part of the email newsletter.
Yes, last time you did a giveaway.
Yeah, I did do a giveaway, and Nivea won that one. That was a 13 by 19 print. I also will be giving away photo shoots. I'm hoping that my wife gives away some makeup also. So if you want to be part of the newsletter, that's also down in the description. And that's the only way I'm doing giveaways. So you just go click the link. You're going to put in your email address. And then when I send out newsletters, some of them are going to be giveaways. Some of them is going to be explaining to you what's coming, what's going on, what's happening with me. So make sure you're on the newsletter, and make sure you pay attention to that at all times, because that's the only way you're going to maybe get a free photo shoot, a free makeup session, or different things. I'm going to have a lot of different things. It can be anything. So make sure you do that. And like I say here on Jacquil Imagery, even though we're on the talk, but I say on Jacquil Imagery, capture the moment.
Watch it forever.
Watch it forever. I'll see you guys in another episode. That will be episode 13. And we see you guys. Bless.